Work on issue 5 begins. That was a page done for preview pages in issue 5. That's going to be the actual page, and I have a page to make mistakes on. Just getting started with issue 5, starting the coloring process, and trying a few things out. As I previously stated, so these are the preview pages. You can see how dark and rich that black is. My ink was running out, so the black isn't as deep as it needs to be. This is the page that will actually be colored for the issue, and you can see it's much more richer and whatnot. So I figured I'd take this opportunity to have a page that I could play around, make some mistakes on, whatnot. This is the page I used for the preview in issue 4. This is all done with colored pencil. I was trying a few shading things with different colors of colored pencils, and I'll probably still utilize a few of these, but most of it's going to be colored with Copic, so it's a different shade. Also, I wanted to do a background to give them kind of a scene that it happened in a previous issue, this whole conversation, so I wanted to give like a callback to that, where this would have happened. Other than that, I really like the colors up there, so those are going to be the same. I am doing it with this Mepski brush marker, much like a Copic, but I believe they're bigger in Australia and whatnot. I don't see them much around here, but I do like them. They're much like a Copic, but just not as big around here. Plus, I have a Copic that's similar to that color, so I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. My number 5 for this tonal gray was drying out, so I switched to the 6. The 6 is going to be, well, will hopefully hold up. If not, I have a Copic that I can trade in for that. Going to be doing a background like that, and then you have Wrath's actual colors. That was much pinker than I wanted it to be. That is going to give the red shade that I want him to be. So, going to do this background for here and here, fill it in. So let's get cracking on issue 5. So if you haven't been able to tell at this point, I am currently working on getting issue 5 colored right now. I am 6 pages in, working on the 6th page. I did have to skip the 3rd page just because of all the problems that are about to rise that I'll show or talk about in just a second. But trying a little different format today. With this update, I have been recording the process and put these little clips together. I would record something for Snapchat. Trying to get a video reworked so I can put it in this video as well. If you want to follow along, Snapchat is probably the easiest way to follow progress, or my Patreon. Links down below, or Snapchat. All you have to do is add me. My name on there is Samurai Ox, like everywhere else. Trying this new format out of when I'm doing updates on there. I record the same update, but I'll turn it on the side and actually record a better video quality. The awesome thing about Snapchat is it's making me nail down the conciseness of my thoughts and whatnot. So this is me just trying out some things for the 1st page I was working on this week, getting that down and trying out some colors, working on backgrounds, getting all these colors laid out. I will be back to talk some more in a bit. I have these clips separated just because there were things in between while I was trying to work on all of these. There's probably about 10 minutes I'm going to be talking in a second, looking at cons, things I'm going to be doing for Kickstarter, and then kind of problems that have arose this week working on coloring issue 5. I'll get back to that in a second, but for now, enjoy the rest of the video. I should be back in a couple minutes to talk some more about what's all going on. So stay tuned and I'll be right back with you. Takes half a goddamn second to ruin a whole page. Yes, that's a Copic reading through and ruining a page. Glad I didn't get too far into it, but still. Got to reprint that page so I can start it over. So let's move on to the second page. Looking good, looking swell. Bleed everywhere. God damn it. That's what all this mess is going quicker, seeing if it'll, at what speed I need to go to keep it from bleeding everywhere, which I think I have my speed down. It's just a matter of getting it done now, So I finally finished the first page after having a ton of trouble with not only Copic markers bleeding everywhere, but just a handful of other things. Also printing this whole issue has already ran my black printer ink cartridge already out. So I was able to reprint the first page, but the second page I don't have reprinted just yet. Hopefully I'll get to somewhere tomorrow and either get a new black ink cartridge already or get the second page printed. So this is the preview page, and you can see his hands, Rath's hands were basically pink, red with purple. I liked how they looked, but I knew they were going to look wildly different in the comic. Also for preview pages I didn't have backgrounds for Stitch and Zeke, and I didn't mind it. I just figured they needed that. I didn't necessarily have a transitional difference, considering this triangle of the panel is further away than this one, so they should definitely be different colors. Also, I don't have a separation between these two, and I'm thinking about getting a white paint marker and giving it another border, but I don't know how well that's going to work, so that's something to revisit later, but the page is done. So this is the preview page. Like I said, I liked how it looked. It had a good base and bones to start everything with. And then we moved to this morning. Like I showed off, I used the Mex P markers to color these, and got some decent colors. I was running out of the Tonal Gray 05 and not the Tonal Gray 06, so I decided to do it with that. And then did it and was coloring with Copics down here, the bars, and it bled. And it wasn't really a big deal, but it was enough to throw me off and basically scratch that page. Another awesome thing, I decided on a background that kind of gives this impression this happened at some point between issue 3 and issue 4, where Stitch and Zeke were getting to know each other. Another thing was, I tried a darker skin tone, because the printer for the 4th issue definitely made the proof a lot lighter, and I don't know if it was reading well, but I think they turned out well for the final edition. So I was thinking about going darker, but that's far too dark and won't really work. So with all of that, piecing all that together, finally gives us the finished colored page, and you can see the transitions a lot different, but more so than that is, I wish this would read better, but the shadow from my camera, but like, you can see his knuckles grabbing the bar, and like, those colors, just like the first time I saw them finished, Like, it really just sent shivers down my back because I'm so excited about the next page, which I'll show that off tomorrow. But I think I'll probably try doing a little bit more shading, see if I can't get that to work itself out. I did do a little bit more on Zeke. I think it might be a little too dark, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I'll probably hit it with a second shade about halfway through. And then up here, like I said, I don't have the transitional break, but I did do some more work on the brick work and mortar and stuff, just to give this panel a little bit more definition. I think that's all I'm going to do for it. I think page 1 is looking awesome. Besides the shading, yeah, I'm really liking it. So you have that coming from the preview page. Just looks awesome, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited about doing the next couple pages. So, thanks for paying attention. That's the first page of issue 5, and I'm looking forward to getting into this issue even further. So let's start page 3. You can see there's transitions of it in the distance and it coming closer, getting lighter. Going for that design, that one's going to be very intense, and then it's going to be fading a little bit. But, so I have laid out the colors I want to use. We're going to do the N4. You're right, it's not going to show up. Put this neutral gray 4 on this panel and this panel. We're going to go darker with a neutral 6 on this panel and this panel, and then very dark with a neutral 8 on this one. Those are all going to be Copics. And then for this panel and this panel, we're going to go with the Mexi, whatever. Warm gray 7 and 6. This one's going to be slightly darker. This one's going to be lighter than that one, just because it'll be closer. And then it'll have like neutral gray 0 and 2 to show the action from that hitting the ground. I really like how it turned out over here, but gonna work with the bars as well. We'll hit those when it gets to it, but for now, just gonna be working on doing the background of these couple panels right now. So, check in with you in a bit. So now I'm talking to you again. As I work on page 3, this is actually page 4. I keep forgetting that the first page is done in the coloring process. So technically this is the third inked page, but it's the 4th page in the issue. I hope that makes sense. So since I wasn't able to do page 3, I don't have the side-by-side comparison of these two pages. I'm still waiting to get that second page reprinted and whatnot, so that's kind of a bummer that I can't put that side by side, but enjoying the process so far. So let's get into the fun stuff that has been talked about this week. One of the big motivation conversations going on in the 100 groups this week was what's one of the things you fear the most. One of mine I conquered this week was I sent out a handful of issue 3s to the Eisner Awards. I'm not one to have my stuff put in competitions or judged, something like that, but I feel like this is on a level that could compete, and you make 100% of the shots you don't take, so might as well take a swing and see if I can hit something rather than being too afraid to try at all. So that was one of the big fears I conquered this week. Another fear is I have nobody's going to want to read my story, and I won't be able to find
new avenues for people to get a hold of the story. I believe I talked about this last week, but I'm trying to make it as convenient and as cheap as I can to get people into my story, which means I will be taking my story to a few cons this week. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to either 3 or 4, but they're right here in the Midwest area. I think I'm going to hit up St. Louis, Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then Des Moines here in Iowa. Still trying to figure out how it's all gonna work, but I think I'm gonna have to drop about $1,200 on the 4 shows themselves, and that's only artist tables for the shows. I did pretty well last year at Des Moines, so I'm hopefully going to be on par this year, especially now that I have a few more issues, and hopefully I'll have my first trade printed out by the time I go to the first one. But with all that being said, it has been very hard to get started this week, just because I'm kind of like fearful of maybe these pages not turning out just exactly as I want them to. But after a quick second of allowing myself to think the worst is gonna happen, I jump right in, and as soon as I start laying down colors, the pages go pretty quickly. And I say pretty quickly by 2 to 3 hours per page. You can see this is me coloring page 4 right now, and I think this is sped up 8 times speed, so all this is very meticulous and slow burns, but you get the kind of idea of how long this process is actually taking. Along with the cons that I'll be hitting up this year. The reason I'll be doing cons is because this next Kickstarter I'll be doing. Not only is it going to be for issue 5, but it's going to be for the trade of issues 1 through 4 as well. Looking to do a few things fun with that. I've been thinking about perks and whatnot, and I'll have the acrylic card for the upper stages, but I also want to do something like different levels of people donating or pledging. And I was thinking, I took a ride yesterday and drove 6 hours just to spend a couple hours with friends, and for that 6-hour drive I was actually listening to some of the old Ox radio hours that I used to put together while I was in college. I think just since that's something I have in my back catalog, I think I'm going to actually give away sequential CDs of the Ox Hours. Like, I'll actually burn them, make little inserts for them, and send them off with the issues for physical rewards. I think with this next Kickstarter I'm going to do all physical rewards. I'll have electronic PDF files that are along with it, but I think for the most part it's all going to be physical rewards, just so I can send extra physical stuff and get people more interested in everything I have going on. Along with that Ox Power Hour, I'm going to be doing a special Star Wars print, and then I'm even thinking about doing like magnets or something like that, but haven't really thought too much about that. But there's also an awesome Kickstarter. Also, all these links down below to my Ox Hours on Bandcamp you can download for free. Also, there is an awesome Kickstarter started by my friend Jeff Lafferty. He's doing a book of his cinematic artwork, and it looks killer. I'm so excited. I've pledged already. I'll throw the link down below to that as well. Definitely check that out. Throw some money his way, because that book is going to be just fantastico. We're nearing about the end of this bit of coloring video that I have. I'm not sure if I'm going to do more like this. If you like this style, throw some comments down below telling me you like it, and I'll probably stick with that. But for the most part, just trying a few different things, and I think this is probably going to work the best. I am hoping to be done with issue 5 coloring by this week. I'm about 2 weeks behind where I want to be, but we all know why that is at this point. Starting February with a bang. Probably one of my favorite months of the year. Obviously my birthday's in about a week, so definitely hoping to have issue 5 done by my birthday, just so I can get rolling on the Kickstarter. That's going to be a big part of this first part of the year, especially if I'm going to be taking it to cons, so definitely have to kick it in gear for that. I have a new blog post up I put the other day. Definitely check that out if you want. Just did some thinking out loud from the deepest part of my mind, I think. And my dad had to take early retirement the other day because of all the cancer treatments and everything else. Like, they just don't trust him being in a truck, driving semi and something with disability and whatnot. So that's kind of a bummer, but I think it's time. I think he's ready to be off the road too, so that's gonna do it for now. There's a little more of these videos. There's probably about 5 minutes or so left of this video, so I hope you're enjoying the process of this coloring. If you do, like I said, throw comments below. Links to everything I mentioned also down below. Definitely check out Jeff's Kickstarter. And yeah, I'll check in with you next week for another update of my comic series. I never forgot about a drifter wanting to accomplish one last goal before he can pass along happily. Thanks for checking this out. Love you guys, and I'll check in next week.
Just taking a second, about an hour in on working on page 3. Loving the look. Taking a white Jelly Roll pen. Got this for Christmas. Just fine-tuning everything. Loving the look compared to not doing anything with it for the preview pages, but loving the little indentations and highlights that I'm putting in. So just wanted to stop, throw that out. I'm by no means an expert with Jelly Roll, but adding those little fine details is what's going to set 5 apart from the other ones. So loving it. And finishing up page 3 finally. Did some coloring with the grass, figured out how I wanted that to lay out. Did some experimenting with the crick and the crack sound effects. Also was working on the bang, as you'll see from, this is the preview page. I filled in the bang, filled in the crick and the crack, and got to a point where I liked those, and finished up the 3rd page. I'm not quite sure if I like the coloring of his hands, but we'll look at that a little bit more. But got this really fluorescent yellow for the bang to kind of tie in to the grass. I love the way that laid out. Those colors, those reds, just look awesome. I also really like the crick and crack sound effects. I think this page is pretty much done, minus the coloring of his hands, but yeah, that's page 3. On to page 5, and this is turning out to be quite challenging. This is the preview page. These are the details I kind of working on. So I've got the lighting pretty much done how I wanted to. I changed from yellow to blue, and I like that a lot better, and I think it works well. There is a slight difference, and he is getting darker as he gets closer, but I don't think it's enough because I want that kind of red. Ugh.